Now, we're going to begin with a story that's been trending all weekend. More than 300 cows, over 50 private planes in 2 airports, blocks of money being sprayed as nightclub owner Obi Iegbu, popularly known as Obi Cubana, buried his mother. Now, social media was abuzz following a lavish display of wealth in Oba, Anambra State this weekend. Several celebrities, business people, and politicians turned out in large numbers for the funeral. From contributions to the funeral, an estimated amount of 257 million naira was raised from about 198 friends. A casket worth 30 million naira, 247 cows, luxury drinks in cartons, amongst other lavish items. Well, the event also skyrocketed into a full-blown concert as artists like Davido, Fino, KC, D'banj, and Patoranking took to the stage to excite the crowd. Meanwhile, the Minister of Information and Culture, via its Facebook page, has denied asking the Cubana Group chairman, Obi Cubana, to loan Nigeria money. Now, this was in response to reports that the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, requested that Nigeria should be borrowing money from Obi Cubana and not China. So this is a conversation that has generated a lot of mixed reactions. On one hand, you have people celebrating the fact that, oh, these are young men who are from the East and they're doing the East proud, celebrating money, living large. And then on the other hand, you have people who believe that, listen, we just came off the back of a pandemic. This is definitely not the time for this lavish show of wealth. And they also strongly believe that this money, who knows where it was gotten from, but people who actually work so hard do not spend as much as they need. Because when I'm talking money was being sprayed, you know how normally you spray Naira notes? People were spraying bundles, so you have a 50,000 Naira bundle. So that's how the money was being sprayed. So it was nothing like, they're calling this the most fancy or the most luxurious burial ever that has happened in Nigeria. Even if that's still in contention, because people say Mike Adenuga's mother's burial was a lot more extravagant.
Well, do I go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. This was the big news of the weekend.
Yes.
And in fact, it got so serious that some people were saying that if you were not in Oba, Anambra State, for this particular burial, you were in the wrong place. And persons who could not locate their wives or their, girlfriends were advised to go to Oba to
check for them.
But a number of issues, talking seriously. One, people have a right to bury their parents the way they want, but at the same time, burial or funerals, there's also a value system, around the idea of death and burial and remembrance. And in this particular case, the first point that people have raised is about values, the scope of conspicuous consumption, the display, the obscene display of money, so that at the end of the day, I don't think many people who followed the story or who went to that event will even remember who actually died and who she was. It was more a celebration of money, of wealth. And people were carrying bills of, of Naira and throwing money recklessly around. And that was what was celebrated all through the weekend on social media. Now, it says something about our society. We have become a society that worships money. Not too many people were raising questions about, what was actually going on. They were more concerned about, the long row of cows that were displayed, barbecued. And I was surprised. The same people who are opposed to the grazing of cattle. So they love cow this much, So that was one leg of it, the conspicuous consumption. The second part of it is questions raised about how people were spraying cash. And they were wondering if anybody works hard for his money, he will spend it like this. And then a burial, 247 cows, over 100 rams. Carton loads of drinks. That in itself was something, that people talked about. The second point is the spraying of money. Now, I hope all the persons that went there, that they know that they have committed an offense, the people spraying the money. It's just that the Nigerian government has not been enforcing the relevant law. Section 5 of the CBN Act makes it an offense for you to abuse the Naira, to stamp on it the way they were doing, and to handle it recklessly. Because what you are doing is that you are defacing a major national symbol. Section 21 of the CBN Act, in fact, prescribes penalty of a jail term of 6 months or the equivalent of 50,000. Maybe because the penalty is so weak.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why people really don't care. And in Nigeria, it is a standard thing for you to say it is my money. But I hope that the police, in case they are not aware, because there were policemen there too,
exactly. I was going
that
to
they were
that.
accomplices at the scene of crime. I wouldn't be surprised if policemen were among those people who were picking funds, who were picking cash on the floor. Then, of course, almost everybody was there and they thought it was an achievement. This was an event where major Nollywood figures became ushers and were conducting themselves like area boys. And what does that tell you? They were worshiping money. So the excitement, I find it really odd. But I think the big point will be about the abuse of the Naira, the violation of the law, and then also the fact that you could see this is another indication of how people have no regard for COVID regulations. Nigerians just don't care that there is COVID-19 out there. The way they were mingling, the way the whole place was crowded. Okay, now the party is over now. We commiserate with the families of the deceased, but I don't know whether anybody needed to do this kind of elaborate, loud, funeral. Funeral. And I hope at the end of the day, they will remind us of who actually died and who she was and what exactly that they are celebrating so loudly. I even heard that one of the sons of the deceased, the chain on his neck was 50 million naira.
Oh, absolutely. He was actually a diamond-encrusted image of his mother that he had. It was actually Obi Kubana that had the diamond-encrusted image of his mother in a necklace. He went with a bracelet as well and a ring. So it was quite luxurious, Dr. Bati. Incredibly luxurious.
Well, I think it says a lot about, our social values and norms. And Dr. Batu was saying people will not remember what exactly this event was about. But contrary, I think that a lot of people remember because I've seen all sorts of memes to say, Obi Kubana's mother is the most celebrated ghost wherever she is. you know, so they remember that it's a burial of Obi Kubana's mother. However, I don't totally agree with the way this celebration was done, even though everybody has a right to bury their beloved ones the way they like. And to the point of spraying nairas, I think a lot of people, Dr. Batu, recall even the Attorney General of the Federation had a family member, I think it was a son, who had a wedding, and they were spraying the naira, even at the wedding of the son of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. So if that stick is going to go down, I think a lot of people should be whipped with it.
Absolutely. Rufai, your thoughts on this very lavish burial ceremony that had bundles as opposed to notes being sprayed?
For me, Oba is an ode to societal failure. It shows that society has failed. Materialism has taken over. Things are falling apart. This is not a time to joke around. This is a time to cry for our nation. When everything in our nation has become all about money, all about materialism, all about showing people that you are rich and others that are poor, they can go and die in the spirit of charity and throwing money to them on the floor for them to come pick it up. And please, I'm seeing a lot of arguments. This is not to denigrate a particular tribe. I have strong respect for Igbos because a lot of people are saying, why is that when Igbos do something and they spray money, people are shouting? That Yorubas do the same. It's not a case of Yoruba and Igbo. It's a case of calling a spade a spade. What is wrong is wrong. We can't build a society this way. Because what you've told a lot of youngsters growing up is that they too must make money and spray this way. We are celebrating and entrenching a culture of materialism in society. Then society will lose its moral compass. And going forward, you don't want to blame these people. Why? Because they're just mimicking Nigerian politicians. Is this not the way Nigerian politicians behave when they want to get votes for you during election day, an election campaign? Are there not stories of politicians in the East that even flunk money from helicopters to be able to get votes from the people? So this is the bad culture that our leaders have put on the ground. Our leaders have told us that if you don't get money, hide your face. That's what Nigeria has become. And that's what people will only follow. So society in general should be the one crying. Both the leadership, both the people. Because if it was not ingrained, then where's the way out? And you have all sorts of politicians there, vie for political positions there, flunking and spraying money. I'm not saying don't bury your parents. I'm not saying don't bury your parents, and commiserations to Hobi Kubana on the loss of his mother. But there's a decent way of doing things in society. Just for the record, same on Friday, the who in this country were at Ike Imokwede's mother's burial. We didn't see Naira being flunked.
And by the way, Kachi, maybe you will know.